David called her a poet of conscience, which I love. I think that's a very apt description for Sojourner. She's also very passionate for social justice and change. She's been a change agent in this community for many, many years as a teacher with our children through Poets in the Schools, as an educator, as an organizer. She's done many events like this. Her annual evening in tribute to Langston Hughes is a wonderful, wonderful event, and I encourage you all to come next year when when we do it again. And she is an amazing poet, and her latest collection is called Black Street, which was published by UCSB's Center for Black Studies. Was it a year ago? A couple years ago? Anyway, I love that book, and I just love the poetry in it, and I'm very, very honored to say you're my friend and you're in my poetry group. I learn so much from you every time we get together. So without further ado, please welcome Sojourner Kincaid Rolle.
Well, you know, my husband is a photographer, and I always say that the reason he's a photographer is so he doesn't have to be in the picture. So, and sometimes, you know, it's hard to be introduced. But I appreciate those remarks. Thank you, Marcia, and thank you all my friends, and thank you everybody for coming. I mean, I really did try very hard to keep us on a really tight schedule. I worked hard on this timing thing, but here we are. A little bit long. So first I have a duty to perform, which is not mine, but a friend of mine, Laura Lynch, some of you may know Laura, is an artist in our community. And I met Laura, maybe another one I met about 21 years ago, but she used to work for the Nuclear Age Peace Foundation, and now she mainly works as an artist. And we have a really strong Facebook connection, and she uses Facebook as a way to express what she's passionate about. And a few weeks ago I noticed, maybe longer than that, that she had become very passionate about the nuclear plant, especially at the Diablo Canyon, and she really stepped it up after the earthquake in Japan and the danger that we all sort of live in on a daily basis in the midst of the nuclear plants of the world. So when we were doing this, and she had put up something on Facebook about the nuclear plant, I asked her if she would be interested in, I was hoping that she would come and show some of her art here at the event, that it would be on display. And she wrote back and said she thought she would create a piece. And I think just about 4 o'clock she got these out from the printer this afternoon. And she brought 20 copies that she's donating to City at Peace. And they are for sale. They're signed by her.
Can you hold it towards the camera?
I certainly will.
Yeah.
And she is also, on the back of it is a letter that she's written to the County Board of Supervisors asking for the elimination of the Diablo Canyon nuclear plant in Morro Bay, or where is it? It's in Diablo Canyon, but it's outside San Luis Obispo by the ocean. And so I just wanted to say that, and I hope that each of you will at least stop and look at this piece of art and think about what it means and what it represents from the artist making this statement, and someone in our community who feels so passionately about this, and she is not alone. So I'm just going to read 2 short poems. I think they're short. The first one, I didn't have my page marked, and it's going to pop up here in just a second, because it's the thing I hate for poets to do, and you guys will forgive me for having done this. Because at the moment, I can't even think of the name of the poem. I just feel I have to read it, I have to read it. And it could be in another, okay, I'm gonna go to my second poem, which is printed out, so I don't have to look for it at the microphone while I'm taking precious time. I wanted it to be right here. All right, one last look.
You want me to look for it while you read?
Because I can't even think of the name of it. Okay, thank you, Katie. Thank you. Katie and I, well, you know what, I feel like every poet in the community, we go way back. So when you're among friends, you can be forgiven. So,
what's the first line?
I have no idea. Here again at Diablo. It is a poem. All right. So I'm going to read this one, and this poem is my poem of the week, and it's the poem that I posted in a piece that I put on Facebook, which I have, people they have their different ways about Facebook, but I love it. And one of the things I want to say about this event is that we organized this event and invited people almost completely on Facebook. And I asked all of the poets to send flyers to their friends, and Michelle was very helpful in putting up an event page and an event inviter and a page for 100,000 Poets of Change Santa Barbara. And I invited everybody on my Santa Barbara Facebook list, and I invited everyone else to do the same. And so we had over 700 or 800 invitations that went out to people on Facebook. Some of you responded that you were coming, which gave us great heart to know that people were saying, yes, we're coming to this event tonight. And when people said, well, was it in the paper? Did you get the press release out? We did it all by social media and email. So I think that's one of the things that really I want to say praises to, our new technology and way of communicating with each other. And it's something that's still in our hands. Even though Facebook keeps changing, it's still in our hands that we can use this to communicate with one another. But the big event in America and in the world this week was the execution of Troy Anthony Davis in Jackson, Georgia. And we couldn't be there, but we were there. All of us were there in spirit and in heart. And I had a friend who was inside the vigil that was inside the gates of the prison, and who wrote a piece which I republished on Facebook. But when she wrote me the night before and told me she was going to the vigil, I decided I would be in vigil with her on that next day. And so I did spend the next day putting up notices, playing music, putting up YouTube songs, and other people joined in. So I just really feel that I made my contribution from where I was, and I know many people joined me in that, being in one spirit with Troy Davis as he went to this untimely, unconscionable, as I think Perry wrote on my Facebook, unimaginable occurrence. And I managed to finish a poem which I had started many, many years ago when I saw someone, standing outside of a prison, a family, waiting for their loved one to be executed, someone for whom it was questionable as to whether they were guilty of the crime. And it's called Grinding Slow. And of course, as in this one, there was all the wait. Is there going to be a stay? Is there going to be a pardon? It's not there.
It is.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to read this one. I'm going to read this one I started. Grinding Slow. Bitter roots, a clicking clock, relentless pace, the wheels don't stop. They stand aloof, souls disengaged, devoid of proof, consumed with rage. The whistle toots, small hope portends. In wrenching haste, the heart ascends. The question moot, is justice served? No death condoned, we stand affirmed. The owl hoots, the disconsolate scream, amazing grace, still young can dream. The masked man shoots, the gate unhinged, we lost the race. The dead avenged. Everyone knows what's to be said about that. Here it is, The Blue Rock. I should have known it was that poem. And I will do it really quickly, and you have to imagine, as I usually do, that I have a rock from the beach at Montana de Oro in my palm. This blue stone once lay like any other pebble on a rock-infested beach. Now it warms my palm, a tiny remembrance of a day by the sea and my small bow. This rock once lay in the shadow of Diablo, near groves where sojourning monarchs suckle, near roads where guardians of the earth stood and were arrested. I lie in the same loam, wallowing among the blue rocks, awaiting the gritty water, the sacred cleansing, sanding my body, smoothing my spirit, preparing for my watch. And if that poem were to have an epigraph, it would be, they also serve who only stand and wait. Thank you all for being so patient.